Hi, welcome to Morning Talk Show. Today is a special bonus episode. I'll get into it a little bit more in the actual episode, but I had the unusual experience of having a friend create a video that went viral, and it's called Speaking Moistly. It's an auto-tuned version of our Canadian Prime Minister using a very unfortunate term during a COVID crisis update. And anyway, the thing went crazy and had millions of views in the first couple of days. So I filmed an interview with him. His name's Brock Tyler, so he's on here. And then as an interesting little extra thing, I also interviewed Evan Gregory, who wrote or who auto-tuned the song Bed Intruder and the song Double Rainbow, if you remember those two. So the Gregory brothers and Evan Gregory kind of, under the name Schmoyoho, kind of pioneered auto-tuning the news and auto-tuning YouTube videos. So I interviewed both of these people, and then I kind of sat on it because I'm a little bit lazy and it was extra. It was an extra effort kind of thing. So now that I've procrastinated, a couple of things actually make the videos even more kind of interesting. Number one, tragically, the subject of the Double Rainbow video, his name is Paul Vasquez, or Paul Bear Vasquez, has passed away. He passed away on May the 9th of 2020. So we lost him. So that's one thing I wanted to mention in the intro video is if you go and give the Double Rainbow video a watch, and you can kind of appreciate the man's love of nature through that video and pay your respects that way. So when we had filmed this interview with Evan Gregory, when I had filmed it, Paul Vasquez hadn't died yet. So we don't actually mention that in the interview. But at any rate, now the other thing is that recently, and this is less sad, the song Speaking Moistly by Brock Tyler, also known as Anonymotif, has had a string quartet cover with the singer from the band Moist, David Usher. So he is singing on that cover, so you can kind of go watch the original and you can watch this Moist cover of Speaking Moistly. So anyway, there's a lot of fun content. These two interviews are mostly about creating and kind of what it's like to go viral. My interview with Brock is unusual because we're actually friends, but we were also in lockdown, so we hadn't really hung out much. So anyway, it's a very unusual episode of Morning Talk. Not at all the same, although I do kind of try to get deep and philosophical a little bit in the interviews, so that will be familiar. But otherwise, I hope you enjoy this episode. And yeah, like and subscribe, and I've got more great videos on the way. Thanks. Okay, Delia, can you go let Aubrey show you the math? Love you. I will give you a treat when it's done, if you guys can stay awake. Okay. Awesome. Hey, Evan, welcome to Morning Talk Show.
Thanks for having me.
It's a super pleasure to have you here. This show, I'm guaranteed you're not familiar with it, but my general idea is to interview a huge range of people about basically human behavior and psychology, but from like a really like not a professional scientific basis, just people's experience of life, and everybody from meditation experts to flat earthers and everything in between. And so recently my good friend and bandmate had some viral success with an auto-tuning of Justin Trudeau singing, or he said the phrase "speaking moistly" in his address, and immediately regretted it. My buddy tuned it and it went viral, and it just reminded me of the deep well of the Schmoyoho and the Gregory brothers. So I was interested in your experience of going viral and kind of what it did to you, to your mind, like how it affected the way you think and the way you live. Is that too broad of a question?
Yeah, well, it's broad, but we can dial in from there. Happy to explore it and see what falls out. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Speaking Moistly remix, which is awesome. We had some fans even send the original clip to us, like, you got to check this out.
Amazing.
Trudeau, he basically meant to say speaking mostly, I guess, and just came out moistly, but
yeah,
he was instantly pricked by it. And so I've seen the remix. It's awesome. It's really well done and catchy. And also, we also really liked, I'm speaking sort of collectively for me and my brothers, because I work with my brothers,
yes,
Michael and Andrew, of course. I'm sort of speaking for the group. We loved it because it's sort of like in our school of remix, which rather than say taking a piece of audio and just kind of like chopping and screwing and landing on the beat, there's an effort, you can tell in this remix, to like tease out a melody basically and turn it into a song. So we affectionately call that songification, or like to songify something. So what's your buddy's name on Twitter? On YouTube, his handle is like Anonymotif or something. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. His name is Brock Tyler.
Oh, cool. Well, I'd like to meet him someday. I think it's a really, it was a cool project. Came out awesome. Awesome.
I was hoping he would be part of this interview, but he's actually a pretty private guy. That's the funny thing, is he's probably one of my most introverted friends. He's a musical genius, but he told me he just loves your guys' work, obviously, and it's homage. So from your perspective, like, did you see a massive upswell of that kind of stuff after your initial viral success? Like, did you see a bunch of people doing that?
Yes, yeah, for sure. And now we've sort of been in this odd niche that we carved out for ourselves for about 10 years. So that's, in YouTube years, as you know, that's like 4 generations. 10 years is
absolutely.
YouTube years are like dog years, basically. So so we are major AARP material, and it's not, remixes of found material already existed, but with the advent of YouTube and the ability to post something online and then just get there with a click, and that coming around the same time as just being able to have access to audio and video editing tools at the consumer level, that created this like explosion of fan-made stuff. Just remix culture just became a part of the world. And so that already existed when we came around, and our main innovation was this idea of like really focusing on song form as you go into a remix, and trying to find a melody and trying to make it come out like a song that was catchy and that people could sing. And this idea of using software to turn a speaking voice into something that hit pitches and approximated a singing voice. That was like our major innovation. And so, there were certainly like copycats, but we really knew that going in. There's no jealousy. Like, oh, these guys took our one thing. It's not like we patented it. It's, we uncovered this idea of just like pushing the autotune up to 11 could get these results under the right circumstances and using a bit of craftsmanship. So we knew there was going to be tons of people out there doing that as soon as we, because it's obvious what we were doing. Maybe you just hadn't thought of it before. Anyone could do it. We were honestly surprised there weren't more people. It was so, especially if you saw the success of some of our hits, it was like, we would thought the floodgates would open. There are some people that have found success, some of whom we've become friends with or have relationships with. And one that's been out there about as long as us is this guy, John Boswell, who does the Symphony of Science. He has just some awesome, but his portfolio is so deep that when you start to watch it, then you get to really see what the artistry is that's involved, because his stuff sounds totally different from us. He just makes different styles of music than we do. So you get to see that it's not like a lot of button clicking. It's musicianship too. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the clear thing. And I think that's why you're still here 10 years later, is like, those songs are insanely catchy. They get stuck in my head instantly. Like everything I've listened, like I've been singing Tashi Station today. Like, but so I mean, it's clear that it's more than what I hear when I listen to it. As a musician who's done some audio editing and that kind of thing, is I hear obsession, but not in the bad way. Like, I can tell there's meticulousness and obsession in what you do. My curiosity is like, I have an analogy that came to my head. It's like when I used to play those kind of more strategic games on the computer, like Robin Hood, where you'd have to like solve a problem, and like the Sierra games. I don't know how old you are, but that's
Mm-hmm.
I used to. You'd walk around in the game, and you'd go into a new environment, and you'd not know what you could pick up and what you could manipulate. And then so I noticed in real life, I would walk into a room and be like, for a split second, I'd say, can I pick that up in my head? Like in real life, the game would go into like, I would be like thinking of the world in the same way. So I'm wondering if that happens to you. Like, are you hearing melodies in people's voices? Are you hearing remixes like in daily life as you walk around?
Yes, or when we watch TV, and I won't say it's like a permanent state of mind, but when we've been like really dialed in on a project or something like that, which is the same thing you're describing about like your video game experience, and that really rang true to me too. I remember like when I used to play Tetris a lot. You'd said that you play that for a couple hours, and then I go and try to read a book, and you would see like in the margins of the book, like lining up with the rows of text, you'd see like blocks and pixels start to line up.
Man.
Your brain just gets in that mode. So the same thing is true for being like really dialed in on a creative project like this, and it happens to be really steeped in this technology. So your ears get really honed in on listening to Joe Biden's particular turn of phrase when he's talking about his hairy legs or whatever, and
that's a good one.
It just clicks in. Now some voices are better than others when it comes to like transforming a voice into a melody. And I think the way we like to think of it is basically, the human voice is an instrument that's always producing sound, and the closer someone's speaking voice is to already singing, like the shorter the journey we have to take them on, the better it's gonna sound. Right. And that's why Joe Biden is like the Beyonce of unintentional singing. So he's just always out there just yelling like this, and he wants to tell stories to you. And so it's like, that's all, he's already using his voice like a singer, like projecting, the air is flowing.
I feel that's why, maybe that's why Bad Intruder was so good, because that guy had such a sing-song voice. Or
yes, totally. Yes, two things. Yes, you're exactly right. So Antoine Dodson is his name, and it's you're exactly right. One, it's just the volume and the projection. He's animated, he's loud, so he's already projecting like a singer would do. But then also there's like an arc and a melody that's baked in there. Like we didn't modulate it that much, and that's why it like really clicked, especially because that original interview was so viral that everyone had already seen that. And so when the remix sounded almost exactly like that, it was like really interesting and shareable.
So that brings up another thought that I had about your initial success, because Bad Intruder was pretty close to the beginning. Am I right in thinking of that? Or how long had you been going by the time Bad Intruder came out?
Yeah, really just about a year since we had kind of first broken this series that was called Autotuned the News. And that was more based around like current events and this idea that we could take the news and find some comedy there and find some songs and just sort of use it as like a fun songwriting exercise. We've been doing that for about a year. And then we hit on this idea of like making singles out of viral videos, basically. But we weren't that big at that time, but Bad Intruders, it was really the Double Rainbow song. Was sort of like back to back within maybe 4 or 5 weeks of the Bad Intruder song. So those two things, like back to back, just really opened up and exposed us to a huge audience.
So how has that changed? Like, I guess I'm fascinated by the idea of somebody's success being tied to their knowledge of kind of current events and like what is actually on people's minds, right? Because it seems like early on you could probably just go off of what you find interesting, but once it starts to be like kind of a big thing and there's expectation and I'm assuming some kind of income stream, like how did that mess with your head? Like, did you find that you were kind of becoming obsessive about current events at all, or did it not change anything for you?
Yeah, okay. So a few questions in there. Were we obsessed with current events? I think the answer to that was already yes. Um, we were already interested in the news just as human beings, but then also with this series Auto-Tune the News that we'd already been working on for a year or so, that made us really pay attention to the news to like a pathological point. Every day you're checking what's the latest update
Right.
and the, behaving like political junkies. What are the
Yeah.
latest salvos from one side to the other, paying attention to that, seeing what stories we could turn into songs. So now, what's the second part of your question?
Well, I
That
was
we
just
were
wondering how it
already
affected
paying.
you.
Yeah. So then I guess as our audience broadened out, how did that change the considerations and what did we pay attention to? We started watching more and more indicators like what was being shared on YouTube, what is being talked about in different spaces like Facebook and Twitter. We started, instead of being the curators of our material, we started to look to our fans as crowdsourcers of, the internet is getting too big for us to monitor everything. What
Right.
are other people seeing? They're seeing stuff that goes viral in their communities. Something doesn't have to be globally viral to still be interesting or viral on some level. So within each community, people are paying attention to different stuff. And so our dedicated fans would show us videos that they thought were funny or interesting or singable.
Yeah. And that's awesome, because I think what we hear a lot when people talk about social media, even people who are absolute social media junkies and, YouTube junkies, is the unhealthy aspect of it. But in a way, I kind of feel like these viral videos, there's a certain kind of almost like selflessness, or using this to create some global community, this idea of everybody being connected by certain ideas and certain emotions. So have you found that? Like, have you found overall it's been healthy or unhealthy for you? I mean, I assume you wouldn't be doing it if it was unhealthy.
Well, lots of people continue to do things over the years that are unhealthy because they get trapped. But so don't take my word for it. I'm perfectly healthy. Everything's fine.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it, man. Yeah.
Well, let me see if I can paint, sort of the ups and the downs, because really what you're asking is not just about our specific thing of taking found material and making songs about it, but is really about the more general lifestyle of being a digital creator and just being a YouTuber. Now, our experience is a lot different than like the archetype of a YouTuber, which is somebody who is looking at their phone or laptop going like, hey guys, so let me tell you about my day, or today we're going to talk about this important topic, and is sort of like addressing the camera. We are not that. Our fans know our productions, they don't know our personalities, so you can't take our experience as universal. But it does really affect the way that you approach your life and your career when your portfolio, your oeuvre, whatever you want to call it, like all the stuff that we're making exists in this digital space on this platform that's controlled by YouTube and Google. So it feels very different than a traditional career in music, which is sort of like how we set out. We're originally musicians, and we kind of stumbled into this video career because that's just where it led us. You follow the breadcrumbs that are in front of you of what people are watching, and here we are. And also, we wouldn't have made it this long if it was only YouTube for us. YouTube is how people find us, so that's the centerpiece, that's the bread and butter. But in order to make a career, and you'd find this for anyone who is a so-called creator or influencer or any of those like very hateable words to describe something living on. But they'll all tell you that it's all about cobbling together some mix of
a bunch of different streams.
Yeah, your AdSense, your merch, your whatever. And we're kind of lucky that as musicians we can like play in the music industry a little bit, and that helps support us.
Right. Yeah. And you have sales of tracks and stuff like sales on iTunes and that kind of thing, and streams and live. Do you guys do a lot of live performances? Like in
No, not a lot, but we do some. Yeah.
Okay.
As what's most common for us is that we'll go play festivals.
Mm. Oh, yeah. Sorry, hang on. It's froze up. It usually comes back in a second. Sorry, having a little interruption here. Oh, come on now. Uh-oh. Come on, internet. Hey, sorry.
No problem.
So yeah, you were saying you get to play festivals.
Oh yeah, about yeah, live performance is the question, and the answer is like in our pre-YouTube life, we did touring and stuff like that. We were a very conventional band. Nowadays, it's most effective for us to spend most of our time in the studio, basically. But we do go out for gigs at festivals. We've played at VidCon every year for 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It's canceled this year, obviously, but last summer we did several festivals, and that's just really fun because we can go out with a rock band and basically play live versions of our videos.
Right.
It's super satisfying, and people in the crowd will always know at least the biggest hits and sing along. It's awesome.
Yeah, like as a musician, it sounds kind of ideal because there's that stereotype of the road warrior who has to constantly be on the road, and those people experience shows that are just absolute duds. Whereas with your live performance experience, like it seems like there would always be a built-in enthusiastic audience for those kind of shows. So you kind of get the, yeah.
I refuse to disabuse you of that notion. Yes, all of our shows are always amazing and sold out.
I'm just thinking, okay, fair enough. Yeah, you don't have to tell me the reality. This is the internet. It's not reality. Okay, fair enough. Well, I know that's been Brock's experience. Is that the audience for this comedy stuff is just has dwarfed any of our music that we've done individually. But I mean, that's fine. So it sounds like then viral success did kind of change your career path, like changed your intentions for your career then.
Yeah, absolutely, because we just got a taste of what was possible. There's no guarantee that a single viral success is going to turn into recurrence. Right. That's even more true now than it was then. But people can see your one thing and then move on. But we were sort of focused on, okay, if we just keep developing the craft of this and just try to make it funny and interesting, then what you hope for is this giant peak that comes with the viral hit, and then when the peak comes back down, the remaining plateau is just like a little bit higher than where you were before.
Right, where you were before. So you keep building it.
Yeah, so you just come back with more stuff, and eventually people are attracted. And where it has worked for us is that we've had big viral hits that have drawn in big audiences, but where it's hurt us is that we've had hits that are sort of like in different spaces. Oh, this viral hip hop thing. Oh, this very nerdy news thing. So members of our audience tend to like whatever the first thing was that they found, the thing that was shared to them that made them fall in love. And so if we have 5 or 6 different things that we do, there are plenty of our fans that only like the one thing and they hate the other 4.
Right. That's the thing about the internet. It's like I've done a little bit, I mean, because I have this podcast, I've done a little bit of research about how to kind of guarantee an audience. And the whole thing is be as specific as you can, like do Photoshop tutorials, and that's it, and Maestro is set up for failure from the beginning. Kind of like what you're saying, where you're following your, not that you're set up for failure, but you're following your interests. You're following your songs all reflect you and your bandmates. And they don't necessarily reflect, how could they, millions of people. And it's like, for me, I'm like, I did an interview with the founder of the Satanic Temple, and I got a ton of satanic followers whom I loved. And then my next one was about meditation, and my followers kind of like, you know, kind of went off. So eventually, I guess you feel like you're honing in on those people that actually really respond to like your just overall vibe, like your people. You don't know who they are, you're just casting things out. And I'm hoping that happens.
That's an awesome example, and I'm really hoping that after that episode, you were left with like 2 followers that had both things in common. You know, just like a really chill Satanist who loved meditating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, by the end, I feel like if I ever get a really big following, it'll be the most interesting. Like, I'll actually want to do one of those Discord servers or something and go hang out with those people, because, you know, so many different chat rooms and stuff, I always feel like kind of left out. But maybe I and you are creating these communities of like hardy people who just like love to go inside your brain, you know?
Yeah, well, don't discount that, because having a broad outlook is its own kind of specificity. Your show is about trying to uncover certain things about the human species and human psychology. So that is its own interest group, being able to look at all different types of humans. It's a different type of specificity than, I do Photoshop tutorials or whatever. You know, we follow people that are super specific, but also we follow, especially in the world of podcasts, people that like interview everybody and try to have like an outlook on the world. And to fulfill that outlook, they need to understand everybody.
I think that's where the internet, hi Delia, just, you can listen. Okay. I love you. I think that's where the internet becomes kind of, so this might be the end of the interview. I think that's where the internet becomes actually really human in this weird way. I almost see it like the internet being the neural network of a giant brain, you know, and certain paths get well worn. And in this weird way, we experience the massive consciousness of the nation, of the world through the internet. So anyway, I celebrate that kind of success because it does seem very human. Your success, it seems very human to me. It seems very, like, as much as it might be, like, it doesn't seem calculated, right? And especially because of the diversity of what you do. It's not calculated. It's not Photoshop tutorials, it's art. And that, you know, and I just want to affirm you in that and say what you're doing is art. And anyway, I think we should probably end up here because I've got to get back to taking care of my little ones. But do you have anything else?
There's no time like the present to build a pillow fort, is what I always say.
Yep. Oh man, if I could take the computer in the living room, you would see a tent full of pillows, which is pretty rad.
I want to go there right now.
That would be fun. We can't. Yeah, come on up. No, we have to social distance. So do your own tent. But so is there anything? That's a
great function of pillow forts.
Totally. Is there anything you're promoting right now you want to give a shout out to before we're kind of done here?
Oh man, we just put out an album of remixes of our own material called Hand Wash Sesh, which is an album of lo-fi beats that you can listen to while you're chilling and trying to get rid of your anxiety around coronavirus quarantines. Nice. So that's one thing I'd be happy to promote. We went back to our stable of instrumentals and put them in new settings. So if anyone out there on the internet can correctly guess what the original songs are that we remix for each track on Hand Wash Sesh, I will send you a t-shirt.
Wow. Okay. So you've obscured it intentionally, kind of made it like gauzy or.
Yeah, there's like 10 or 11 tracks on the thing. Probably 7 or 8 of them would be easy for a fan.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So people can comment in my under my videos or your videos, and we'll hold you to that t-shirt promise. No, we won't. Okay. But well, Evan, thank you. Evan Gregory, thank you so much for being on the show. And if it's okay with you, I'm also going to interview Brock, and we'll talk about you guys, and they may be in one episode. Would that be okay? Or is that kind of, or should I do them separately? Probably separate.
Oh, that sounds great. And in the spirit of internet remix culture, if you cut up all my dialogue to make it sound like I'm talking to Brock, I think that'd be perfectly satisfactory.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I was thinking about that. Yeah, like maybe trying to auto-tune both conversations or something. So we'll see what comes of it.
Well, okay. I'm at a disadvantage because you've interviewed me first. So you can just get Brock to write a series of prompts as if he's asking me different questions so that I sound like a moron.
Oh man, this sounds amazing. Now I'm going to be obsessively cutting and pasting audio. Oh man. Okay, see you soon. Okay, so Delia, do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye, Delia.
You want to say thanks for watching Morning Talk Show?
No.
No, you don't want to say that. Okay. All right. Evan,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your quarantine.
You too.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye, guys.
It was so great to meet you. I guess I'll say, Brock Tyler, welcome to Morning Talk Show.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You are the first friend, the first person I've had on the show that I've even met before your face popped up on the screen, and I would say you're far more than just a person I know. You're one of my closest friends. So
That's right.
I had somebody with another podcast recently tell me that he was comfortable, like he had only interviewed people he knew, and that made it comfortable. But I was like, or that made it easier, he said. He didn't say comfortable. But I was like, I actually think that it would be weird to interview someone I know. Like, because when you don't know someone, there is a lot you can still find out. Like,
that's right. And there's probably a certain tone that you can take with a stranger, not taking a tone in that sense, but just a way you can ask questions or communicate with somebody. When you've got history with someone, you have a bit of an established rapport,
exactly,
established way of talking. So so I get that it would be different, but it's my pleasure to be here. I'm a big fan of the show. And the host is pretty cool too. So
one thing I can't do with people I don't know, though, is you can't jump into the joking too quick. Like, my real sense of humor. So often it doesn't show its head at all in the whole interview.
Yeah, I guess it would really depend on the person, right? Some people you naturally click with right away, and others it takes time. So
I like to slap people with an offensive statement once in a while to see what happens. But when you don't know someone, I said
you don't know how they're going to take it or where it's going to go. So
exactly,
makes sense. But I know you could say anything, and only some of it will faze me. So.
Well, you're dumb. No, I won't even go there.
Going right there.
So I'll tell my part of, which is absolutely minimal, of the story of the reason why we're having this interview, and I'll set some of the stage, and there's no expectations for this conversation being long or drawn out or philosophical. But the other day I was actually working from home that day, and I got a text message from my friend Brock Tyler that he had put out a dumb thing on the internet. I mean, I'm not even making fun of it. I think that you said a dumb thing.
I think I made something dumb, or I made something stupid was the text. So
I watched Justin Trudeau sings "Speaking Moistly," and I think at that time I hadn't even I had maybe seen a meme about speaking moistly and not even understood what it was from, because I didn't watch him say that.
Right.
But then I immediately knew that it was auto-tuning, because I knew you had done a bit of that already. And I was like, oh man, that's so awesome. And like, obviously because it was you, the production value of the songwriting quality was way better than it even needed to be for the situation. And so me and our other friend, we're just kind of like, oh, that's awesome. And I think there were like 200 views. I'm like, wow, 200 views already. That is
big
really
time.
Good.
Going big.
And then lo and behold, I kept getting these updates from you and Tim that were like, I think the first one when it was 800 was like almost no time later. I was like, what's going on? So I kept checking in with it. And I think you went legitimately viral with over 1 million views in a day. I'm telling the story. This is so counterintuitive. It's not what I normally do. I'm sorry.
It's good. Well, I'd rather, hear it than say it. I mean, but I'm here, and I'm happy to contribute to.
Yeah. I do want to hear your side. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So I think you summed it up pretty well. It was just one of those things where you saw it kind of getting a little bit of momentum, and when I put it together, just kind of like any video you put together or put out there, you're not really expecting much. You're thinking maybe a few people will enjoy it for the few videos I've done. And Yeah, I don't know at what point a video is legitimately called a viral video. I
I was
think
going to ask that. Yeah.
there's probably some context with the country, because this is a very Canadian video. I
Yeah.
think a lot of I don't know that people outside of Canada, it's not that they wouldn't get it. It's just that Canada being a smaller country,
Yeah.
things are a lot more insular, and the
Yeah.
jokes are just inherently more Canadian.
Yeah.
You can have a unique perspective as an American in Canada.
Yeah.
Um,
You could turn your gain down a tiny bit now. Sorry. Now that
am I
you're
clipping?
going. No, you're not. I don't think you're clipping. It's just now that you're actually kind of getting in the swing of things, you're a bit louder.
Yeah.
Sorry. And
Is that better?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And now you're getting all the treatment that I don't usually give anybody. I never say stuff like that. So anyway, keep going.
That's all good. Yeah, so it was fun. I mean, it was fun looking back on it, and it was just compared to maybe an actual viral video that sweeps the world or something with tens of millions of views. It was small, but it was fun because it did kind of hit the qualification of taking on a life of its own, which is a
Yeah.
phrase that's used, where you stop trying to get people to watch it, and it's just sort of, you
Right.
see a flow of
Oh, yeah.
sharing happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty surreal to see that happen. And as I reflected on it, the most fun part was sharing it with friends like you, and Tim was our other friend who was in the text chat,
Right.
and just kind of watching it happen together, and
Yeah.
doing anything together these days is, all
Right.
digital, because no one's able to hang out. But
Yeah.
it's cool. It was really cool just seeing the fun happen and being able to chat about it with you guys. I thought that was pretty fun.
Well, for sure. Like, I guess the likes of like, or the views of millions of people is kind of like, it's almost an immaterial thing, right? Like it's really cool to see it happen, but I guess it's not, like, it's almost unreal. It's kind of like when you sign a mortgage and you become in debt for,
Right.
$350,000, and it seems like almost nothing.
Yeah, you don't feel it on your shoulders in this quite the same way.
Yeah, it's not the same way as if you bought a $350,000 car or something like it.
Or had a bad night at the casino or something like
Right,
that. It would
or just
feel
lost it.
a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is like a couple, there's a feeling of it being slightly removed from reality, because you're just seeing people interacting with something through these virtual signals, I guess, through
Hmm.
social media, and a view count, which is a funny thing in and of itself. And you kind of this was my first experience of really, people really wanting to watch something that I've done to that degree.
Mm.
And it's funny how quickly you get in the mindset of checking what I started calling the jump, which is like you check the video again and you just see what kind of intervals numbers are jumping by.
Right.
And it's when you step back, it's this hugely arbitrary thing. It doesn't really mean anything except kind
Yeah.
of what we've applied to it. But
Yeah.
it's something you find yourself doing because it's gonna go away in about 48 hours and we all move on to other things, which is how it should be.
Yeah.
But it was interesting kind of having that experience for the first time and learning about myself through it, I guess, that way. And
Oh, yeah.
kind of the habits you form as you're watching things happen.
How did it affect your kind of mental life? Like, what was going on, or what kind of mental gymnastics were you playing with yourself?
Yeah, it was just a lot of screen time,
Yeah.
a lot of shows from my kids. Carmen, my wife, for those who don't know,
Yes.
and we were both, you're just taking it in, and really you're watching people enjoy it. And it's so enjoyable to see somebody just, take a little bit of fun out of something you've done, or, the covers being a whole other thing, the covers that have come out around the song, seeing people make it their own. It
Yeah.
becomes just this, this thing where you kind of never hit the bottom of what's out there, I guess, in terms of
Right.
seeing what people are doing with it.
Yeah.
And not in a self-aggrandizing way at all. It's just because of the type of song it was, and it's sort of this silly thing and the type of video it is. I didn't feel didn't feel like it was really about me at all, which was actually made it way more fun because
Right.
I had no sense of being self-conscious over it.
Right.
It was just seeing people who were having a laugh, and I was able to contribute to it. So, coming back to kind of the mental gymnastics, it is, you're glued to your screen for a while. Just like, where will this go, I guess, is the question that comes. And yeah, so it's not a healthy behavior that I'd want to do all the time at all.
Right.
It was kind of nice when it started tapering off a bit, but
Right.
yeah, it's funny. It's funny how how you just get, I guess, really immersed in it for a little while.
Yeah, I definitely was on my phone a little too much that day too.
Yeah.
Just like, whoa, and like my mental gymnastics is like, I think I experienced what could be called pre-jealousy. Like it wasn't jealousy outright. Like I never wished it wasn't happening to you, but it's like, whoa, as musicians and stuff, that type of buy-in is what you dream of. That type of self-motivated meaning the audience is self-motivated to like look it up, listen to it, share it with other people. But it really did kind of, you said the word together earlier, and in reference to me and you and Tim texting that day, but it's like, I mean, people really did feel together in Canada over it, I think, just for a little bit, like, because most people knew about the original video, and then it got shared. And like, I was kind of surprised that anyone I mentioned it to had either already heard it or hadn't heard it but loved it, like immediately. Like, I haven't heard anyone hate it. And I know there were like a few thumbs downs on YouTube, which is kind of
There's
funny.
always a few, yeah.
Probably Justin, or I don't even know, is Justin's mom still alive?
She might not have been happy.
He might not have loved it.
Yeah.
But you definitely clearly had a strong political message there. No,
it was super political, and that was the whole
very,
point.
very much so. Yeah, no, it's so funny. I mean, but he is just so perfect for it too, right? Because Justin Trudeau is this very handsome, youthful public official, and even the way he said moistly, like it really, when you stretched it out, it just sounded so funny. So like, you did a great job of getting the actual way that he pronounced that, emphasizing the humor of that. And then those two ladies who were who were signing it on either side. And then I don't know, also one of the things I thought was great was how it was so short. Like it didn't belabor the point. I feel like, knowing you, I feel like I could just tell when you didn't have an idea for another way to make it funnier or keep it going. So you just stopped, which at a certain point, which was awesome and perfect.
Well, that's exactly it. I had just finished a different video, which is called Special Place in Hell, spelled with 2 hockey sticks, which I took a lot of pride in with the artwork, because it mashes up Premier Jason Kenney, saying that phrase, there's a special place in hell for people like that, referring to hoarders in the pandemic. And then I mashed it up with some hockey. So it was like, oh, I can finally spell HE double hockey stick, which was awesome. And so I had just finished that, and it involved a ton of clips, and I spent way too much time on it. My wife was like, you're going to go work on that again. And it was kind of like, why am I doing this in a way? And so I just finished that a few days before, to a very lukewarm reception. And I was thinking, I don't want to make this complicated. I want to see if I can, I guess, jump on the fact that a lot of people are paying attention to this funny moment. And I thought that Prime Minister Trudeau, he added the humor to the moment by owning it, and by the punchline is the funniest part, really, where he just acknowledges, what does he say, that
what a terrible image.
Yeah, I should know that by now.
I know it because that's how Delia identifies the song. It's funny, she doesn't even sing it. For those of you who don't know, my 4-year-old daughter, who actually makes an appearance in the other half of this episode, she talked to Evan Gregory, but
cool.
Yeah, she calls it "What a Terrible Image." So
that's the part that really stuck with her. That is the funniest part of the whole thing. I couldn't find a way, partly because of how he said that.
Yeah, it was really quick.
very quick. And when you're manipulating the voice, and I use a plugin called Melodyne to do it, you really learn quickly what works and what doesn't. And going back to a previous point you'd said, I know we're jumping all over
Please
the
jump.
place here, but the way he said "speaking moistly" was perfect because it was so separated as he's thinking. Do I really want to say this? Did I just say
Moistly.
that? Yeah.
It's like
So
the word was coming towards his mouth, and he was like, "Do I shut the
yeah,
gate?"
totally.
He didn't
Couldn't get it
shut
shut.
soon enough.
Couldn't get it shut.
Yeah.
So it was so perfectly said. There was just nothing on the borders of it at all to worry about in terms of editing. So, yeah,
Thank you,
so that was
Justin.
why, and that's part of what determines, what gets used and what becomes the catchphrase.
Mhm.
But it was also this, obviously the term that got everybody talking. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember how we ended up at this point, but
It's okay.
yeah, it was. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. To take it in more of a I'm actually going to release this as a bonus episode because it's so off the beaten
Right.
path. But how often would I have the ability to speak to a viral video creator? So I thought I'd take the opportunity, but to take it in a slightly more,
Such as he is.
yeah. How often do I have the opportunity to capitalize on the success of my friend and hopefully get more subscribers for my own YouTube channel from it?
Well, this is all for you. It was always all for you. So this was the ultimate. This was the ultimate end. It was going to be the video viral, tweet from Justin Trudeau, and then to get to morning talk. So
to get on to morning talk, you could have just asked.
I could have. Well, but
that's okay.
I'm glad you went
this. I'm glad you went this way.
Right.
But to take it in this direction, though, I think of like a kind of the concept of national identity and collective identity, and how much of that is real. Like, is a nation even a real thing, or is it just kind of an arbitrary thing that has to be enforced, or how much real buy-in is there? Because as a person, I have I'm so I dislike collective identity. I feel weird about all collective identity. I feel weird about every community I'm in. I feel weird. Like, I don't know why that is. But occasionally you'll have these moments where it feels like there is a national identity and that it's a real thing that actually helps some people. I think there was one time where the Oilers were in Game 7 and of the Stanley Cup.
The finals?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's 2006. Yeah.
There you go. So you know about sports. I see. I don't even know. Like, honestly, I wasn't even sure I was saying the right cup. It's not the Grey Cup. That's how unsporty I am. But
don't you have an Oilers shirt? I think you
do.
I do
because
this stuff.
It fits really well.
Yeah.
But I feel kind of bad wearing it. But I went to a convenience store, and the Indian lady with extremely thick accent behind the counter was her eyes were shining about being in Game 7, and I had kind of this very like Hallmark movie of the week moment of just feeling like, oh man, Canada is a real thing. Like, this nation is a real thing to someone, and this kind of moment. And this is kind of another one of those moments. Although I haven't shed any tears, maybe today I will. But it's kind of one of those moments where it did seem like there was a collective consciousness. There's been obviously a buildup of tension, and stress and anxiety. And then everybody was this was a flashpoint for people to kind of let their hair down. Did you feel that?
Yeah, I think so. In terms of a national identity, I'm not sure. I haven't thought that deeply about it. I think that,
sorry.
We were texting and I said, what I said earlier today was, as my wife and I have talked about it, just felt like a bit of a perfect storm of elements. And really, it obviously is all the foundation of all this is the statement and the way it was said, and the fact that, and I don't even think the original statement would have gotten the attention it had without the fact that we are all in our homes right now staring at screens.
Right.
And some of us are, managing kids and still don't have a lot of free time, but a lot of people are looking there. Yeah, we're just eyes on screens and
Yeah.
sort of
There's,
looking to be entertained or looking to stay busy. And
yeah.
so I think that whatever it is that is facilitated by social media to get us all honed in on one thing for a brief moment,
Mm,
whether that's represented through trending hashtags or anything, whatever that kind of magic is increased in power right now. The
yeah.
strength of it is even
Right.
stronger when it
Yeah.
happens. And I think the sharing and the memes and all the stuff that comes out around it is even stronger than during normal times because our
Yeah.
attention is so focused.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the biggest part of it. It being the prime minister, I mean,
Yeah.
it's the head of, well, technically not, I guess, the head of state of Canada, but the most visible political figure.
Right.
And he is for some people a controversial figure. People, like on any politician, are divided on how they like or dislike
Yeah.
politicians. So I think that brings a certain level of attention to it as well.
Yeah.
He's a charismatic individual.
Yeah. He grew a very
He's known
responsible
around the
looking
world.
beard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
For
true.
this crisis. Definitely.
That's right. It's kind of the perfect beard for the times.
Yeah. A little bit of gray in there. So we're not like, oh, there's a child running our country,
That's right. I think he just wanted to clear that part up.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, he's just got that, I guess, a little bit of star power as a politician, a bit more than most politicians.
Well, Kenny is
So
Kenny is a little more Jason Kenney's a little more local. He's our local punching bag in Alberta, I guess.
sure.
But,
And I think that's the standard politician image, I guess. But anyway, so coming back to whatever happened and the way people latched onto it, I think that it was just a few things were kind of happening at the same time. And more than anything, I think people were looking for a way to decompress, and the prime minister gave it to people, and I just sort of piggybacked on that. And music has a funny way of uniting people, and this type of a video, which I should say now is a very well established type of parody, invented, I believe, and if not, then certainly perfected by the YouTube channel Schmoyoho with the Gregory brothers.
Yes,
and,
indeed. Hey,
and I understand it. Yeah, thought I'd help you out there.
Yeah.
And I understand you had a nice chat with Evan Gregory, which is super cool.
Yeah, I did. I talked to Evan.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Oh, sorry. Yeah, and I was just going to say that I think a lot of people know that this is actually kind of an old style of meme video.
Yeah.
And I'm really just, on Twitter, I think I compared it to I'm just like a kid trying on dad's clothes or something like that. It's I enjoy the creative challenge of doing this type of video. But certainly it's, they do it better and funnier, and they've done it for years and years. And I think they're honestly, beyond the comedy and the of the videos, I think they've got a level of musical genius going on that I can see. So
sorry.
Sorry, you were going to interject. We've got a choppy connection. Go for it.
Sorry. So like,
no, it's good.
I think you, I think really you're just taking, when something's already been established, I think it's just quicker for people to buy into it, right? There's fewer people who might be weirded out by it or be like, what even is this? Whereas I'm sure there was a little bit of that early on in the auto tuning thing. Like I remember Double Rainbow was just like, I just loved that song and the bed Intruder from Schmoyoho. So my intention with this is to have this be kind of a double bonus episode, because I'm talking to you about your experience as a fresh first time viral video person, and then also Evan Gregory from the Gregory Brothers / Schmoyoho will be another part of it.
Schmoyoho.
And then I don't know. I mean, he challenged us or me or you to remix and chop these conversations up. I'm not going to commit us to that at all. But if that happens, then it will also be a part of this video. But the last thing I'd want to do is look like I'm trying to go viral myself. And I don't have Melodyne. I don't even know if my computer could handle working on that. But
That's cool that he challenged you to do that.
Yeah, I didn't know
if he challenges everybody.
He probably does.
If it's
I mean, if you know, I mean, I'm not sure if he's challenged other people, but I mean, I would at least assume that he has the ethos that this kind of thing is better when it is crowdsourced. You know, like when we're you know, when it's just like everybody try it, everybody get in on it, because it creates this environment where these things really can flash, you know, into like to the top kind of thing. And
yeah, and for sure. And I think they, so I should say that one of the coolest parts was I was chatting with somebody on Twitter, and they had, it's this music blog. I'll just do a little shout out to Ballads to Bangers. I can't remember the name of the individual who runs the blog. Sorry about that. But he made a really nice list of 5 viral videos and was kind enough, really at an early viral stage, to include
early viral,
Speaking Moistly in it. Pre-viral almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, he
really
really liked
had a temperature.
Yeah, that's right. Mild. And so that was on there, and a couple, obviously, Schmoyoho songs were on there. So we were chatting a little, and I was telling him, I said, oh, one of my favorite Schmoyoho videos is Why Manti. And for anybody who hasn't seen it,
I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, look it up. It's so good. It's underrated, and one of their simpler works. But that's the type of video to me that showcases their level of I think like musical genius. Like they really have you can just tell they're powerhouse musicians. So, which is always what I've always enjoyed, the comedy element. And they're really funny. They have their own brand of humor for sure. But the music is what's drawn me in, because it's so consistently satisfying.
Well, they're decent chord progressions, I noticed. That's one of the things, because
Yeah.
it's way too easy to make a, 1-4-5 chord progression or something. But theirs aren't. I don't know if they ever do that. Maybe they do, but
yeah, I'm not sure. Like there's a complexity. It's the perfect balance of, there's like a complexity to the arrangements, but it's simple enough that you can hum to it or learn it, and it's always catchy. So yeah, Why Manti, I think it's a really funny backstory to the video, and also just a great song.
I'll check it out.
Sorry, I keep getting derailed in my thoughts, but one of the coolest parts was Michael Gregory reached out and complimented the Speaking Moistly song. And yeah, it was really cool to see him reach out. And I wasn't sure, I felt a little sheepish, because it's like, obviously I'm basically just emulating what they've already done and established and kind of having fun with it.
I think Cher started it, technically, the auto-tune.
Oh yeah, maybe.
So you're just ripping off Cher again.
Like she knows how to input into auto-tune. But whoever produced it maybe can take credit. Yeah, but it was really cool. And so just coming back to your point, I think that they probably have a level of comfort with people imitating them or emulating them, because it's so well established, and everybody knows that their work is just on its own level. So I can't say what they're thinking, but I hope that they take it as a compliment, because that's I'm sure. A big fan. And
they're fan. He was a fan. Evan was a fan of the song. So I should say, though, I would be remiss if I did not point out to anyone listening that you yourself are. I already was calling you a genius musician before this. So your own songs under your name, Brock Tyler, are just amazing, and your musicianship. Oh, I know you're not sure, but that's because you're you. And anyway, anybody should check out Brock Tyler. It's I think it's amazing. My connection is unstable. No,
that's all right. I think we caught up. I lost you for a sec, but well, that's That's very kind of you. And I think that that word is thrown around a little too willy-nilly, but I'm not throwing it around when it comes to
You're
the
one of
Gregory
the
brothers.
most skilled musicians I know, and when you and I get to play guitar together, that especially when we're both playing guitar together, that I can just feel the innate musicianship that comes from you. I really should have planned to compliment your music and say really nice things, and then not say another word. Just sit here, and until you finally just ended the
crack.
call. That would have
Right.
been that would have been pretty
That's
funny.
good. Yeah, that would have been
To do
fun.
that.
We could end the segment that way.
Yeah, find someone
Bit
who
of a
doesn't take a
staring
compliment
contest.
well. Yeah, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Well, sorry, we had a choppy connection, but the feeling's mutual. And for anyone who doesn't know, I'm also a member of Can2, which is this guy's band. Where'd he go? He's gone. So I guess I'm hosting the show now. Welcome to Morning Talk. We're gonna. Oh, he's back. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. No,
Check out Can2.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Can2. That's my band. I've never actually mentioned it from
Well,
the
that's why I'm here.
bonus episode for everybody. Okay. But anyway, Brock Tyler, thank you for being on Morning Talk Show. I don't know what the final product of all this is going to look like, but it will at least be an interview with you and an interview with Evan Gregory. And this is great. So if anybody hasn't seen, they probably have already paused this to go and listen to Speaking Moistly, because it's the weirdest title, and it just draws you in with its weirdness. But
It is weird. Well,
yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Oh,
which
yes,
is
absolutely.
if I was going to leave on any kind of note, just that it was the most fun was seeing all the covers that came out around the song, which was really cool. And I think the best thing was seeing parents dance with their kids to the song, because you and I both know, as parents of small kids, how hard it is for everybody being stuck inside a house, and your kids can't see friends and all that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the song was enjoyed, but it was super joyful for me to see people make it their own and have a laugh, which is what a lot of people said, that they hadn't laughed in a while. So
Right.
I never expected that. And
that's so great.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I watched it just this morning, snuggling Aubrey and Delia, and we tried to watch a remix, where somebody did another version, and Aubrey was too loyal. He said, I don't like this. Go back to Brock.
He's a purist.
He's a purist. Yeah, he's a snob.
There you go.
A hipster. So anyway,
well,
all
what
right.
did you do?
This was great, and my first interview with a friend felt pretty natural. So hopefully it will be interesting.
Yeah, it was good.
As well.
Cool. I can't wait to be on next week again. Thanks a lot.
Oh, you know what? Next week I actually am kind of busy, and